Joining us now is a politician, a change advocate, a national builder, Dan Akinlami. It's nice to have you join us
Good
right
morning.
now.
Yeah,
good morning.
Great.
Thank you.
You look great.
Thank you.
All right, now let's get to this issue. This is not the first time that the steps are being taken to talk about immunity for National Assembly leaders. Why this back and forth, testing the waters to see the reaction and then see if we'll move ahead? Why is there even a need or call for immunity for National Assembly leaders?
You know, at the heart of this is a leadership challenge. This just shows us the priority of the people that we have in the legislature. With the crisis that we're facing at the moment, the security challenge, economic challenge, this shouldn't be the top priority for now. So this misplacement of priority.
Is it the timing that is the issue?
Well, the timing is an issue. Then the intention of this bill. This is presented by Honorable Olusegun Odebumi. The previous one in 2016 was presented by Honorable Leo Hogo, the minority leader. So it will take an high-ranking member of the House to push for this. But what this actually conceptualizes is the fact that the people we have in the leadership today, their thought life, thought pattern is quite worrisome.
According to reports, the intention for them is to ensure that they are not distracted and they can focus in service delivery. Isn't that a good intention in itself?
Well, they've put forward some points to defend the bill. But to be sincere, at this point, people are even asking that we should remove immunity for the president, the VP, and the governors and the deputies. So why asking for immunity for the presiding officers of the National Assembly? If you get involved in any action that will take you to face prosecution, you need to face it. You cannot go to National Assembly to go and hide from prosecution. People need to be responsible for their actions. And if we go to this level and begin to give immunity to the presiding officer, obviously we have to go and give to the judiciary. And it's going to get worse. So then you see people who have stayed as a state executive, looted their state, run to the National Assembly, get a leading position there, and hide there forever away from prosecution. So this is a misplacement. And what this is actually portraying is that we have some sort of leadership challenge.
Or that maybe someday we'll be asking for immunity for ministers as well, as permanent secretaries and all of that. But the point there is, you were talking about timing earlier on. If this time may not be the right timing, when can be the right timing to raise that kind of an issue at all?
To be honest, we shouldn't be discussing this at all.
Okay.
This is the time we should strengthen the system, that those who are in leadership can be accountable, not to evade accountability. We shouldn't even be having anything to do with this kind of bill. People should open their books. If you are in position of leadership, you should be able to act in a way that you can be asked to account for your actions, for your deeds, within the floor of the house and outside. But we have this challenge. Look at the kind of bills that are coming up lately. You wonder that are these people actually connected to the masses, to the people they are meant to serve? The other time, a senator was proposing a bill for amnesty for the repentant Boko Haram. While the people that were displaced, the IDPs are still there, the soldiers that have died are not yet compensated. We're talking about amnesty. So we have a misplaced priority in the legislature. And this boils down to the issue of leadership. The thought life, the thought pattern of the individuals occupying the leadership position is worrisome. And the kind of leadership that we need, that the leadership is not affair of the head. Leadership is an affair of the heart and thoughtfulness. The men that we have in leadership capacity today are not thoughtful people. It's about self-interest. The things that will protect them, the things that will keep them in the positions they occupy.
All right. So all that has to or needs to be reviewed as far as you are concerned. Okay. Thank you very much, Daniel Akinlami, for your insight into this. Thank you. All right. Joining us now is politician, change advocate, and nation builder, Dan Akinlami. It's nice to have you join us right now.
Mike.
Right. Now, the bill to give or grant immunity to principal officers of the National Assembly has passed first reading and is certainly going, but there are lots of outcry from Nigerians. If they insist in pushing it forward, what scenario can play out?
Well, I think with the opposition at the floor, it's going to be difficult for this to be pushed through.
Okay.
Don't forget there's still going to be public hearing as well. And the speaker too stated when the other fashion was sponsored in 2016, it was among the people that kicked against it. So he was literally asking or saying that if this is passed this time around, that this 9th assembly would be exempted, that it will take effect in the 10th assembly. But beyond that, this bill, as it comes back to public hearing and the further steps, the legislative steps on it, is going to face more backlash. It's just starting. This bill is self-serving. This bill is not what Nigerians need at the moment.
All right. Now, at the heart of the outcry from Nigerians is the issue of accountability. How critical is the aspect of accountability to our nascent democracy?
Well, we are in a critical state in our democracy that we're hearing of hundreds of billions of naira being stolen and looted from the national treasury from one government to another. We are still talking about the Abacha loot that's being repatriated right now. And a senator is also linked to part of the money we are expected to receive. Now, you are now talking about immunity when everybody should become accountable now. We need to tighten the system. We need to make the system more robust, that there's no loophole for anyone to escape prosecution. When you go in there, you know the law is watching you. The people is watching you. Let your hand and your heart be clean. Serve selflessly. This bill is not what Nigeria needs now. Mirage of problems facing our country. This is not the top priority of all the problems we're facing now. The security challenge is there. Economic challenge is there. These guys are not talking about how to create ease of doing business, how to do social empowerment that make the lives of the people in their constituency better. But they want to promote an agenda to protect themselves from prosecution.
All right, a senior academician who teaches political science was saying that to some extent that this can be seen as a way of also strengthening the National Assembly as an institution. What do you make from that window?
Oh, no. Nigerian system is peculiar. When you give people an inch, they
take a mile, eh?
They go beyond mile. They go far too as much as they
so
can
in
go.
order to prevent that mile.
Nigerian system, you know,
Okay.
I need you to know that there are some few countries, especially the West, that have immunity for parliamentarians. Germany has. And a couple of other countries, they have immunity for members of the parliament. But the fact that some of these countries have does not mean that this is copyable. In fact, some of these countries already facing abuse of this provision. They are facing abuse of it already. People are facing prosecution. People go into parliament to hide, and then they live larger than the law. Now, our situation is peculiar. We need to have laws that can adapt to our situation. Our challenge, the most crushing of the problem we are facing today is corruption. And this is not the era. Anyone should be seeking to be protected from prosecution.
That's
All
why we
men
have
in leadership.
institutions. That's why we have institutions who are to check persons who are found culpable when it comes to issues of corruption. We have the EFCC, the ICPC, and the likes.
We are even in the era. People are asking that immunity should be removed from the president, the governors. See how long it takes us to prosecute a governor that have embezzled the state fund. There is a landmark case of a governor sentenced lately from Abia State.
Yeah.
See how long it took. If we had the opportunity to probe, investigate, and charge them while they were in office, it would have saved us. They're going all the way for 8 years, silly enough.
So is the
to destroy their
clause the
state.
problem, or is the implementation the challenge, or the people that found themselves, the leadership, the challenge? Is it the law that is the problem, or the people that found themselves in leadership?
In one hand, the law is not the problem. In fact, even today, some of the bills and the laws that we are trying to reenact, we already had provisions in the Constitution. The problem is the willpower by the political class to enforce this law, starting from themselves. That is leadership. If you submit yourself for accountability, it's not going to be difficult for the citizens and the rest of the country to follow suit.
Yeah, you said earlier that Nigeria has a peculiar case. We see that no Nigerian leader ever has been prosecuted in this country before when it comes to talking about the presidents and all of that. It's not because they may not have one or two cases to answer. We see South Korea, we see Brazil. These are countries where someone is just leaving, South Africa, exactly. So someone who is just leaving the presidential palace goes straight to court and then goes to jail.
Well, what
we still have a long way to go, is it?
We still have a long way to go. What people expect from the legislation is bills like death sentence for corruption. Bills like life imprisonment for corruption, not bills for immunity for presiding officers.
But when it comes to death sentence, it is one thing that the world is kicking against.
We have a peculiar system, and we've got to address our challenge.
But we are a member
China
of the global...
had a peculiar challenge, and they address it by death sentence. If we're not even talking about death sentence, the highest of punishment available for humanity should be provided for grafts and corruption offenses. So to say, if it's life imprisonment, we can go for. These are the bills we should be pushing in the National Assembly to tighten the system, that this country can grow and come out of this era of looting and retrogression.
All right. Daniel Akinlami, thank you so much for your insight into this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Joining us now is a politician, change advocate, and nation builder, Dan Akinlami. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Glad to have you.
Now let's focus on the immunity clause itself. There was a reason why it was created in the first place, and there has been calls for either its review, its total removal, or something else. And some have said that if we remove the clause, it could inflict more harm on our democracy. Do you share that same view?
I don't think so. I don't think so. The initial fear, when this Fourth Republic started in 1999, people were scared of the conflicting interests that could bear on leadership. Now that we have this democracy more than 20 years, we've seen to the extent to which this immunity clause has helped or not helped. And at this point, the cry, the demand for this immunity clause to be removed is increasing by the day. If you look at the case of the governors in particular, we've had more governors, even the past 8 years, being prosecuted and having issues having to do with grafts and corruption while they were in office. And the justice system is such in a way that even when they leave office, it takes us like 4 to 8, 10 years before we eventually start to get justice. So to make things easier for our system, I think we should be getting to the point where we should do away with this clause. Now, what do we achieve with that? Having these executives going into office knowing that whatever they find themselves involved in, they can be prosecuted. We put them on their toes from day one. You can imagine a situation where a governor transfer a certain amount of money every day to his company account or personal account from the state coffers. And it went on for 8 years because the law protects the governor. But with what we are facing today, the dire situation confronting us, we need to amend this.
But don't you think that this will be a distraction, especially looking at recent developments with people going to the courts, that those holding these positions will not be able to deliver on what they are meant to do?
But with this provision, this intention, we haven't done well. Yes, they've been protected. What capacity of leadership have they even provided with all the immunity and protection around them? You see this set of governors, if they are not building statue, they'll be building cathedral or building mosque or be paying for mass wedding. What capacity have they even offered with the protection around them? And what we need to do now to help our country, that we can say the era of the Abacha loot is over. We need to expand accountability. Every avenue, every law we can reform that can make people more accountable at the spot, we should embrace it.
But the point is, there are also complaints that you have in the political space. You have so many mischief makers who will come up with anything, anyhow, just to distract one. There are those complaints as well, because those can really be unnecessary. But if we draw attention to the National Assembly, like the Speaker of House of Rep was saying that he wouldn't mind even resigning as a way of protesting in case that law gets passed. What more can he do when it comes to ensuring that the law doesn't get passed and doesn't get the nod of the National Assembly?
You know, the problem here is the fact that the people presently benefiting from this provision, the immunity clause, haven't really done much to justify the intention of the framer of the Constitution. Many of them now hide under this immunity clause to do so many things and do injustice to their state finances. Now, we shouldn't even be talking about the lawmakers too being given this, because the state executives and even at the presidential level, people have the issue with what people do with this power. So now if we are even talking about the parliamentarians now being included, we are just like indirectly saying that we are not serious in bringing people, you know, to account for their actions. We're not serious in the fight against corruption. We just want to allow people to be doing self-seeking leadership over the nation. So if we're a serious nation, leaders should know that when you apply, you contest for a political position, your hands must be clean. You should not have skeleton in your cupboard. When you get there, people will probe you. People will look into your academic records. People will look into your career life. They should know. A political position is not a place for you to go and hide and escape from your past. So that orientation needs to increase. The awareness needs to increase. If you are offering yourself for service, check yourself well first. Your records, are they clean? So when your records are clean, when you don't have any criminal past, these things are not that difficult. There are countries without immunity clause, and the executives at state and federal level are doing fantastic job in their nation.
All right. Thank you so much, Dan Akinlami, for your insight on this topic.
Thank you very much. Thank you.